Real, it's undeniable, yeah. I'll be your hero. I need, oh my gosh, you know what I need? I need a karaoke session of just singing Disney songs. And that's what I need. That's what I need. I don't feel like people do Disney songs in karaoke very often. And then also, I don't know. The thing of the matter is, yeah, we're going to be talking about Starstruck today, but then I kind of also want to talk about other Disney films, but not just on and off, yeah. I feel like the only maybe reasonable and I guess good enough film that has come out of Disney as of I guess today, because you know when we think about how like, oh my gosh, old Disney was at its peak, like what do today's kids have now, like there was a conversation, like I think me and my friend E were talking about it in my Cinderella story episode as well, like we were talking about the fact that like we don't know what today's kids have now. And it's like, they wouldn't have had Starstruck. They wouldn't have had what's it? Let It Shine. They wouldn't have had, they wouldn't have had 16 Wishes, Debbie Ryan. And it's like, I think the only good thing that came out maybe of like as of recent would probably be Descendants, and that's it. But you know what's funny is I only watched the earlier Descendants, like maybe what was it, 1 and 2, and then I don't know really what the very recent one is looking like, because I know that there has been a recent one which I thought was about The Rise of Red. That was the last one. It came out last year. So I don't really know about that one. Because yes, it's about the Queen of Hearts, his daughter. But I don't feel like, even if I was to look at that, I don't feel like it would be as good as the beginning, like as in the original one. So as in I meant the ones that obviously came out first. So I guess Dove Cameron's one, and also starring Cameron Boyce, who obviously R.I.P. to him, because I guess it was his it was also his what's it called, his anniversary like the other day, but yeah, he was also in that film, and that's what I mean, like that was such a good time. 2015, do you get it? The peak. But anyways with Starstruck, yeah, with Starstruck, sorry, Starstruck came out in 2010. Wow. You know when you say years, yeah, and it's like you feel so ancient, even though like in your head it wasn't that long ago. Like honestly, Star Trek doesn't feel like that long ago, but it also is at the exact same time. Because 2010 was like, bro, I was in school. So yeah, and there's loads of others. This is what I mean. I kind of want to touch on the others as well. Like the fact of the matter is that I think next to this film, that for me I would have said yeah, just right next to it would probably be like Geek Charming. I like, honestly, I really liked that one. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if people like Geek Charming, but I liked it. See, and first of all, yeah, exactly. Geek Charming was just a year after Starstruck, sorry, and that's basically why. Like, I think it's just that era, that time, and Geek Charming was one of my favorites. Plus, then obviously, let me also check, 16 Wishes, which was. Oh, see, 2010. You see what I mean? 2010, like, oh my god, Starstruck 16 Wishes. Like, I don't even know. Let's even, actually, that's what I want to do. Disney films came out in 2000, no, not 2019, 2010. But yeah. I wanted them to just show me, I just wanted them to show me the look. Like, Google was weird. I just wanted them to show me Disney Channel films, basically. Yeah, exactly. Okay, there we go. They did show me. So, like, Starstruck, of course, Avalon High, Tinkerbell and the Great Fairy Rescue. But do you know what? Like, no, we're not going to get sidetracked on that, though, because if I dive into Tinkerbell, like, I'm not going to shut up. But, like, I don't really feel like I like any of those ones afterwards. Like, I guess I do really like the Neverland one, like, you know, the one that has the one that Tinkerbell has that monster in it. But so I haven't watched it in a very long time because it always makes me cry. But like that one though, I don't really know if I really like Tinkerbell and the Great Fairy Rescue all that much. Then Kenbrook 2, the final jam came out, and that's also great. And then obviously, like I said, amongst those was also Geek Charming. But when did Let It Shine come out? 2012. Yeah, exactly. But hey, just yeah, they said the 2010s. But right, like, and Sterling Knight. So Sterling Knight was obviously um what's the guy's name again? Yeah, Christopher Wilde. I feel like, yeah, Starstruck like has like it did a great well, it created the greatest trope, I guess, which is what's it called? Big star, small town girl. Like, literally, that's basically what the story is. And then it's like he's a big star, like she's just from this small so, and then it's like she's like, oh no, I don't like Christopher Wilde. Who's Christopher Wilde? And we're like, girl, you've seen him, you know him, you've seen him on the news. Why do you lie? Why do you lie? But I get it, because this is what I mean. When I always thought about yeah, Jessica, I was thinking, yeah, I'd be like that too. Like, what do you mean? But like, why are we bothered about this guy who sings and he's like, do you know what I mean? He thinks the world revolves around him. It doesn't. Do you get it? So I would have been like her as well. But then, you know, his charms got her. And you know, this film has an amazing soundtrack. So is it Start It Up by Stubby and Put Your Hands in the Sky Now if you want to get high? But no, so that one. Then you have Something About the Sunshine, which is actually one of my favorites. That's like my favorite song in the whole entire film. And then obviously Hero, which I obviously sang in the beginning. So Hero, and then I'm missing another one. I can't believe I missed the biggest one, which is obviously Starstruck. Starstruck, and I get starstruck. Oh yeah, but you know the funny thing is, because I don't feel like that song I don't think it was in the film though. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it was in there. It's a thing where Starstruck was like obviously on the yeah, it was on the thing, like, what's it called? It was on the what's the name I'm looking for? Yeah, it was on the whole entire soundtrack, sorry, but I don't think it was really featured inside the film. The one that I said, basically, the ones that I just recounted was, yeah, they were properly in there. So yeah, they were properly in there. And yeah, aren't they all great? You have Alexis, Sarah Olsen, AJ, Barbara Olsen. Because you know, when I was thinking about this episode, actually, I was trying to remember if yeah, I was trying to remember if Christopher had somebody who was like, yeah, or was that, I think it was obviously Alexis. I mean, somebody who, somebody who was almost like, yes, I want to say other woman, but also not really, but just somebody who was also like looking for his affection, basically, which is why it's like, I don't know. Yeah, which is why I guess, like, I guess they're both two stars. It was him, Alexis, and Christopher, and then they were like, yeah, they were like, of course, they're right for each other and they need to be together. But it's like, no, not necessarily. And then also, Alexis was super, super insufferable. So we said it wasn't even going to be her. Like, she wasn't going to be the one. But hey ho. So, yeah. See, Jessica Olsen was expecting a normal trip to California with her family to visit her grandmother. However, she agreed to join her older sister to find famous pop star Christopher Wilde. And yeah, that's why Jessica's a great character, like I was saying about the fact of like, oh, I don't care about this famous star. And then she becomes convinced. We said yes, rightly so. It's like, she was a hater turned non-hater. Do you know what I mean? She hated him with every fiber of her being. And then she was like, oh, okay. She was like, oh, okay, he's got a bit of charms. Gonna rub off on me. That's perfectly fine. I also love those kinds of stories because I feel like it's like the one who, yes, is not in the limelight and does not come from a fame background, she's the one that makes a lasting impression because the famous guy's like, oh, I don't enjoy being in the limelight, and then she's like, well, you wouldn't know what it's like to be one of the common folk. You wouldn't know what it would be like to not be in the limelight. And that's basically, I guess, even what Christopher and Jessica's whole thing is their whole dibble dabbles, their whole back and forth of, well, yeah, you're in the limelight, you asked for that, and then it's like, Chris was like, no, I didn't. If I could have it my way, I'd literally be a normal guy like how you're normal, just chilling and like, do you know what I mean? Just chilling, just living, do you know what I mean? And yeah, and it's funny, but when they meet, obviously Chris was like, you don't know who I am? And she's like, no. Sorry, don't know you, never seen you before, don't know who you are, could care less. Yeah. She read him. She actually read him. And if it's real, it's undeniable, yeah, I'll be your hero. But it's talking about, see, even that song, he's talking about being her hero. No. Like, as if he can save her, but he can't even save himself from the fact that he was in the limelight. And the fact that, I guess, in the movie where he's like, what's it? Yeah, they're like, oh, do you know Jessica Olsen? He's like, no, sorry, I don't know who that is. And we said, you don't? That's crazy. And you know what I mean? Like, Disney films have such a hidden way of, what's it called? Like, I don't know. Like, hidden meanings. Do you know what's crazy? Like, I saw that clip circling on TikTok the other day, which was, how that scene in Frozen, obviously, where Anna realizes that the guy who she was singing "Love is an open door," like she was singing that song, and then obviously he's like, oh, but Anna, no one, like, he's like, Anna, but you have to find someone to love you first. And we're like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, the jig is up. The jig is actually up. What do you mean we need to find someone to love us? We thought that was you. We just had a song and dance with you, and you mean to tell us it's not you? Crazy business. But I think it's like that too. Like, that's what I'm trying to say about how Disney films sometimes, it's like, we're all just having fun, right? But like, Disney films will find a way to be like, hold on. Hold on. This is a message. Pause. Open your eyes. They said, pause. Hold on. Don't just listen. Also look. Also learn. Put your thinking cap on. They're like, hold on. Be so for real. Because honestly, it's like, the fact of the matter is that, yeah. The fact of the matter, but then of course we know that, like, yeah, Disney films are not, what's it called? Yeah, they're not real, but it's like, and I think it's also what me and Eve saying in that episode again. I keep referencing the episode, and I guess it's not even out yet. But like, but it will be out. Like, I guess whenever this episode comes out, it's coming out on the Friday the 6th. So either way, whenever you guys hear this episode, that's when the episode's coming out. But yeah, so it's like how we were talking about how what's it called? Like, obviously you don't want to use logic to film sometimes. Like sometimes it's better to just shut your brain off and to just be like, oh my gosh, whatever. This film is just like whatever. Like the film is good. We don't need to think about anything deep. We don't need to be like to even use wokeness. Like we don't need to do stuff like that. Like I think I was thinking about how I want to do an episode on 10 things I hate about you, and I was also like, oh, but the thing of the matter is that Kat finds out that she was used for a bet, but like she was used for a bet, but then she forgives him after he gives her a guitar. I said, first of all, like, because that's what I mean. You think to yourself, sometimes messages in cinema are a bit like, what? Like, she finds out, right? He was liking her for a bet. And then you want us to expect she'll just roll over for a guitar. And then that's kind of the message that they put out there that makes us believe, oh my gosh, we should just, like, we should be quick to forgive. We should be too quick to forgive and forget. Like that's what we should do. Do you know what I mean? And I think obviously if you look at it seriously, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like to myself, like it's hard to sometimes do that, to switch your brain off and to just enjoy a film face value. And just be like, oh my gosh, like, do you know what I mean? This film is great, but we're like, no, I wouldn't do that. You're like, no, I wouldn't do it. Like, I'd want to, but I still wouldn't do it because that would be weird. Yeah, because obviously it wasn't real, right? It wasn't real. And then you're getting us a guitar to say sorry, and that makes it seem like, you know, like that hints at, like, I don't know, materialism and like, I don't know, and being materialistic and being like, oh my gosh, you can be won over by a gift and that's it. Hold on, I feel like I've gone on a tangent, but I will refocus. But the thing that I'm heading back to Starstruck anyway, is that, like, yeah, like, Chris clowned her on television, okay? Like, honestly, not even like, no, yeah, he clowned her. That's what I mean. He mugged her off. Like, he said, no, I don't know Jessica Olsen. And it was like, yeah, you do. You went on a whole trip with her. You also drowned her car. And yeah, you did lots of stuff. And then you're going to come out and say, no, I don't know Jessica Olsen. And all because you're in that fame world, which you supposedly said that you disliked, but obviously you don't dislike it very much, because if you did, you wouldn't have said that, right? Crazy. You know, he got swooped up into fame, but he also said he didn't like fame. Then we were like, oh, if you don't like fame, then if you don't like fame, why did you lie? First of all, why did you lie? There was no need to lie. And then even, because that's what I mean when I'm talking about that scene in particular, that scene has stayed with me forever. Do you know what I mean? And I guess obviously what I was saying about messages, it's like, it's a thing where that scene in particular has always made me think, like, you know, men will be quick to, like, what's the thing? Men will leave you in the lurch with no water. You know, what's the thing? That's from Young Famous and African. But they will leave you in the lurch. They will leave you high and dry. They will say, no, I don't know who that is, actually. We'll be like, wow. Clowning you on national TV. And then I guess, hold on. Yeah. What was it? So it's like that happens in the film, right? I guess, yeah. He says he doesn't know her, but then paparazzi turn up at some point as well. Anyways, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, I don't know Chris, blah blah blah," and I don't know. She just goes off on him. I remember when the paparazzi come down, she just goes off on him, right? And she just says, "Yeah, I don't know him, and why would I want to, first and foremost?" Also, if you think about it as well, I don't know, maybe, yes, it would definitely rub me the wrong way if hold on a second. Like, yes. Okay, now I'm trying to think about this now on the grander scale of things. I'm like, if my sister, right, got with the person who I've been talking to her about. Are you crazy? I've been talking about in detail. I said that I like him, and hold on. I said that I did, and then you're gonna say, "Oh, you met him. You're also dating him now," and we're like, "That's crazy. He was mine first." But let's not even do that. You know, all of that. No, he's mine. No, he's mine. All that brandy stuff. But like, honestly, that's crazy though. That's crazy. I don't know how her sister, like, yeah, her sister was like, her sister kind of probably saw it as, oh my gosh, it's a win because she's her sister, and it's like, okay, it's just like living vicariously kind of thing. I was also gonna bring up the fact that I feel like Starstruck is like similar in the way that, like, you know how Hannah Montana the film, I haven't heard the movie. At first I don't know. At first it gives, like, I don't know. I think it's very good. Okay. I just want to say that first and foremost. But obviously, like, I don't know. It's crazy. I think movies, because again, this was something me and Eve touched on again. Obviously, you guys be like, why do you keep mentioning that? But it's just like when you're younger, like, movies were like, they were amazing, and they were strictly amazing because of that time and the time era. So like I mentioned about the 2010s, and like just actually that whole time, I guess from like 2010 to like, I want to say 2010 to like 2015, like, honestly, I think it's because I keep doing that thing. I'm like, was I talking about? Oh yeah, the golden years. I forgot when I was mentioning it. It might have been in one of my episodes. Like I was saying the golden years, right? And then I guess if we was to think about, Disney, and we were to think about the fact of when this film came out, we'd be like, yes, 2010 to 2015 would have been, it would the highlight of a lot of our childhoods. And I guess even Starstruck would have been. And it's like, you don't think about, you really don't, like, honestly, it's like, I'm really assessing it. I'm like, you don't think about logic over the film and over its good time. And the fact of how, this is small town girl and big star. And I think maybe it's like, a lot of us would dream to be that. I mean, you know, even like to be like, oh, we could fall in love with, but actually, first of all, no, because obviously Jessica was not a fan of Christopher, like, she wasn't, but it just kind of happened. She didn't know anything about him. But I think maybe it's more so we would want to fall in love with someone that we do have knowledge of. Do you know what I mean? Someone who is a star in Idol World. We would think that they that they would somehow like us. Crazy. And then I think I was rewatching this scenes from the film. And it's like, she was obviously, he had to say to her, oh, you're just an ordinary girl. And it was like, whoa, that's crazy. And you know what's funny is because that's why these films are weird, because he says, oh, you're just an ordinary girl. And then he's like, oh, you're just an ordinary girl. And then he's like, oh, wait, he's like, Jessica, oh, what happened? We're like, you literally just said I'm an ordinary girl. You literally said that just a minute ago. You were here in the conversation. You were actually here. And that's the thing. Like, I don't know. Sometimes it's like, that's what I was saying. I was explaining about how films are bad, but like they're like, okay, they're not all the way bad. But there's some parts where you're just like, oh, is it today's standards? Yeah, today's standards, it would be like, oh, it's a bit cringe. And it just, I think all Disney movies, like, there's a thing of that they all have a Disney feel, like, of course, do you get it? Not that that's a bad thing, but I just mean they have a Disney feel, as you know, that they're made by Disney, and they all run the same kind of theme. Do you get it? They all run the same kind of theme. And I guess, and then, you know what's funny about Disney movies actually is that the fact that they can obviously just feel like shows. Like, that's what I mean. I'm talking about the Disney feel and how a lot of them just feel like they would be on there, but as a TV program rather than a movie. Do you know what I mean? It's an interesting thing. I mean, imagine if Starstruck, was not a movie and it had been a TV show. Imagine how weird that would have been. We don't even know what that would have been like. Would it have been better? We don't know. Would it have been better? Would it have been worse? Can't really say. I literally can't really say. And they don't talk about very much, I guess, with this film is that there was an age difference in Starstruck because Daniel Campbell was 14 and then Sterling Knight was 20. That is so weird. That is so weird. And I think, again, to reference the Cinderella story episode is that, we were discussing age gaps as well. But you know why I keep referencing the episode is because it kind of does coincide with everything that's being mentioned in, like, this. Like, in our episode, we were talking about a lot of different references. We were talking about, like, obviously Cinderella story, but we were talking about everything else that kind of can link to that. The fact of the matter of, like, Disney, like, do you know what I mean? Like, youth, films you grew up on, which obviously Star Trek is one of them. And we were, I think, obviously in our episode, we were obviously talking about even the subject of age gaps. And I didn't actually know that. Like, I think what this thing says on Google, obviously, is that, so she was 14, he was 20. And then, of course, everybody knows about the Keira Knightley one, which was Keira Knightley was 17. When she filmed Pirates of the Caribbean, and then Johnny Depp was 39. Obviously, their one, the Pirates of the Caribbean one is obviously even worse, but I do feel like the Starstruck one is still a bit weird too, because obviously those 14, 20 is crazy, because Sterling Knight obviously would have been, he would have been classed as a whole adult, and she would have been classed as a minor, basically. She would have been classed as a minor, and he would have been he would have been older than her, like, hello. But anyways, and this is the thing, but anyways, I don't know, I want to say, is that a Disney issue? But it's also not. Like, the subject of age gaps, it's not a Disney issue, to be fair. It's literally like, it's a Hollywood issue rather than, because obviously when I mentioned Keira Knightley, it's generally a Hollywood issue. Like, it's a thing that, like, age gaps are just, they're pretty normalized. They just want to put people. And the thing of the matter is that it even says that here. It says, did they kiss in the Starstruck movie? And exactly, nope, they didn't, but they were close. Like, when I was just looking at that scene, I was looking at the scene, remember when, what's it called? When he obviously says, of course I know Jessica Olsen, I know her better than, what is it? Or he says, she knows me better than anybody. He said, I'm sorry for lying. He's like, oh, can you forgive me? And then obviously, so they were about to kiss in that scene, but then they don't. But it's a good thing because, yes, they wouldn't have been allowed to. That would have been crazy. I mean, for them to kiss. So, yeah. What? It even says that, Sterling Knight refused to kiss Daniel Campbell because he was 50, because she was 15. 50, okay, what is the age? Like, do you know what I mean? They keep changing it, but then that should be whatever. They keep saying it's either 15, 21. Which one is it? 14, 20? But whatever. I suppose it's like 14 to 15 is not a huge, like, it's just 1 month afterwards, but I don't even know which one is which, but either way they had an age gap. But obviously, he refused to kiss her. And then what else? Hold on a second. When I think about it, I guess even to end off, like, I think when I think about it, that Starstruck, like, Yeah, Starstruck was a good film, but was it the one of the best to come out of that area? I mean area era. I would say no. Like, I think to myself looking back at it, yeah, like it was good, but it's so weird. I haven't been watched in a long time. That feels so weird to say. It's just because I think I was saying something about this the other day. Is that like it's the fact that where it's like you leave those movies where they're supposed to be left almost. It's so strange. And it's not even like that. It's just you just don't feel the need to rewatch them. I guess even for me actually what obviously I mentioned Geek Charming already, but I think that is of one of them that I would rewatch again just because yeah, Geek Charming is just like I don't know. I don't know what is it? This is what I mean. I might tell myself, what is it? Um, oh, but yeah, so it's so interesting. If this fact is actually true though, it says Starling Knight only sang Starstruck. The rest of the songs were sang by Drew Ryan Scott because Knight was cast late in the process and didn't have time to learn all the songs, which is wow. So that's interesting. I thought he sang all of them. I especially thought that he did sing, like, of course, yes, he sang Starstruck, but I thought he also sang Hero. So I would like to, I'm going to actually dive into that for sure, because I wouldn't want you guys to believe that. And then if it's not actually true, then we're like, oh my gosh, what? Exactly, brushed up on it, I found it. So obviously he did only sing Hero and Starstruck. So, and that he joined the film's cast late in production, which is why he only sang those two songs. So he didn't sang any of the others, but that is the basically those two. But then, of course, he sang those two. They're the main ones. I feel like he would have to have sang those ones anyways. Do you get it? Those are the main ones of the thing. But it's interesting. So he didn't sing. He didn't sing something about the sunshine. I don't think. I mean, it says Sterling Knight in the like obviously in the what do you say, like features, it says Sterling Knight, but maybe that they're saying he didn't sing that song. Okay, so he sings three of the songs. That's basically it. That's what I mean. We said, just for the record, just for anybody listening, we said, yeah, he sings all three of those. He doesn't do any others. Because then when Google was saying two, I was like, no, it's not two, because he also sings something about the sunshine, which is one of my favorite ones, as I mentioned already. So I was like, obviously he sings that. But anyways, what are your favorites of the Disney era, and do you feel like you have a favorite film? Yes, from the 2010s era, because obviously that's the timing of Starstruck. Do you remember Geek Charming, and what did you also enjoy about Starstruck in general? Completely also forgot about the fact that yes, his parents was his managers, and but he had to fire them in the end. And okay, I remember, because this is what Wikipedia said. This is why Wikipedia is helpful, even though sometimes they do tell lies. But like, that's besides the point. But like, obviously it says that, yeah, she watched him tell her to talk show host that he's never met Jessica. This was the bit I was highlighting on. And then she's like, oh yeah, she's furious at the way the media forced Christopher to suppress his real self. She confronts the paparazzi and rebukes them for their dehumanization and objectification of celebrities. Exactly. She's like, why are you guys following him? You should just let people be and let them be themselves, blah blah blah. But this is the thing, actually, that's what I feel like the main thing of this film actually is paparazzi, and how like crazy paparazzi is and how they can be. Like, the one celebrity who I always think about paparazzi to do with is Tyler the Creator, because he always hates whenever like they follow him, and he's always just like, do you guys not have anything better to do? And he gets so mad. But like, obviously, yeah, so Yeah, I was just like, imagine your parents being your managers. That would be crazy. And they I don't even know yet. They wanted to try to, yeah, so it's micromanaging basically anyways, because what are you doing? You're actually managing your son, but that means, yeah, because it's like, hold on. It's like, first of all, you see your parents as controlling anyway, so then what, them on top of being your manager as well, it's a bit too much. And then, yeah, so then of course, so yeah, he apologized to Jessica and singing the song he had written for her. I think that might be when he sings Starstruck, though, I think, anyways. And then he confesses he was the one who lied, and he admits his feelings for her. She forgives him, and she agrees to go out on a proper date. Exactly. That's the main thing. But, anyways, how crazy is that? The story is so good. But yeah, I think obviously, like I said, the main message is paparazzi, though. I feel like, honestly, it really is. It really is. We say paparazzi. Paparazzi are evil. Okay, joking. I'm kidding. But anyways, thank you so much for listening.